Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good morning, everyone. My name is Hashimi Mirazga. I'm PhD student at University Science Islam, Malaysia. Today, I'm going to talk about exploring the risk perception and work environment risk on oil refineries in Algeria. So let's get started. In this presentation, we will talk about first introduction about risk perception, then research gaps, underpinning theory, research framework, contributions and limitation, and lastly conclusion. Risk perception in oil and gas industries is enormous and cannot be overlooked when addressing employees' work satisfaction in that industry. The perceived risk is the risk that exists either where employees are aware or not and whether they are concerned about it. So successes in avoiding accident will depend on cognition processing related to the situation. The oil and gas industry is one of the riskiest industries when it comes to health and safety of its employees. Oil and gas industries are multifaceted and risky because of their active working environment. Moreover, growing global energy demand has resulted to the need for risk assessment models for sustainable working environment and clear-cut policy development. Interruption in oil production caused by fires and accidents easily lead to significant economic losses and potential hazards to humans and the environment. When people feel unsafe in their circumstances, their behavior is affected. The physical and organizational work condition affect work pressure and tension as well as risk perception. This is in turn affect the ability of employees to deal with the situation with objective risk. A continuous occurrence of several accidents in some of the oil refineries in Algeria has increased the insecurity feeling and decreasing the trust between employees and employers. Research gaps. First gap, little empirical evidence of impact of risk, perception and work environment risk on oil and gas industries in Algeria. Second gap, less attention has been placed on behavioral aspect of risk perception. Third, empirical result on the determinant factors of work environment risk. Number four, lack of literature on employees' perceived risk level of performance in relation to oil and gas industries in Algeria. Gap number five, work environment risk in most studies is more of narrative than empirical. Underpinning theory. Herzberg theory 1959 is used in deciding employees' working attitudes and levels of performance. Named motivation and hygiene factors. Motivating factors need to be met in order for an employee to be satisfied with work. On the other hand, hygiene factors such as working condition, job security are associated with the job dissatisfaction. Protection motivation theory, this is theory. People are more like to protect themselves when they anticipate negative consequences, have the desire to avoid them, and feel they have the ability to take preventive measures. Social exchange theory stipulates that certain workplace antecedents lead to interpersonal connection referred to as social exchange relationships. Social exchange relationships evolve when employers take care of employees, which thereby engenders beneficial consequences. Research framework. The research framework was coined from various research gaps and past theories such as Herzberg theory, 1959, behavior, which identify the behavioral perspective of which this studies variables. are based on protection motivation theory, stated that people are more likely to protect themselves when they anticipate negative consequences, have the desire to avoid them, and feel they have the ability to take preventive measures. Social exchange theory is among the most influential conceptual paradigms for understanding employee workplace behavior. Theoretical contributions. Number one, extending the research on oil and gas industries in Algeria. Number two, integrates production motivation theory in forming work environmental risk and perception risk model. Number three, determinant factors of perception risk and work environment risk. Number four, extends production motivation theory model by measuring perceived risk level of employees using two criteria. This study provides information about the global overview of oil and gas development, Algeria's oil and gas industry, and its challenges. Other aspects such as the work environment, employee perceived level of performance, as well as the concept of risk perception, empirical literature were reviewed and also the theoretical framework. It is vital to measure each work environment from the perspective of realistic knowledge of the responsibilities to be carried out, the instrument to be used, and the required skills. Therefore, it is essential that such risk assessments are examined by skilled persons who have required knowledge of the environments that prevail at the specified work environment during operational activities. By appraising the work environment, the risk that could result in an accident can be identified as well as the safeguards necessary to control or mitigate the risk for each stage of the work. However, stringent assessment of environmental impacts, safety system that requires industry to identify hazards, assess the risks, and follow best practice to manage them, and comprehensive emergency response framework. At the same time, there should be a review panel highlighting the importance of continuous improvement and the scope for raising standards through assure implementation of safety and environmental management system, improve the learning culture and processes for spreading best practice, greater integration between the regulatory authorities, or clearer command and control structure in the event of a spill, robust arrangement to ensure operators' level of liability and ability to pay in the event of a spill, and intensified R&D to develop improved avoidance, capping, containment, cleanup, and impact monitoring of major offshore oil spill incidents.